Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, Siman Kuftes, Siman 109, Halacha Tes, the ninth halacha. This halacha is, I hesitate to say that I understand it because I really don't. There's a lot of beliefs here, I think, that are dated. They border on the superstitious, if not full-fledged superstition. It at least sounds like superstition. And anyway, so first we deal with the issue of the water if it was in a house where somebody died, and this is a well-known custom. If the water is in a house, when somebody dies in that house, then they would pour the water out. There's a lesser-known custom concerning water that is stored, is stored over the period of the what's called the tekufa, the equinox. There is an idea that somehow or another this water becomes injurious to human health, and as such it should be poured out. Now, this certainly smacks of superstition. There have been some attempts to give religious meaning to this idea of the equinox and pouring out water, but to me it sounds a bit superstitious. It goes all the way back to the time of the Goanim. This was when it's mentioned, and even then it seemed ancient. So this very well could go back all the way to the classical period. So it's one of those things, sort of old ideas get kicked along, and we sort of, for the same reason I'm doing this video, they get included for completeness' sake. I don't think there are a lot of people that take this terribly seriously today. But think about it. When I say superstition, there's plenty of secular superstitions. Not everything is hocus pocus. Not too long ago, people believed that if you loaded up on vitamin C, and certainly there are people who still believe this, that you were impervious to the cold, and yet people were taking their vitamin C or the zinc lozenges, and they still caught the cold every year. So, is that a superstition? We could say it's perhaps a kind of a secular superstition, but yeah, I would say that that's of the same nature. So I don't think that this idea of the tekufa had to do with with spiritual things. I think it was a sort of a generalized idea that this is just how the world works. So, and I don't think this is isolated just to Jewish culture. I think the general culture had funny ideas about changes that were sort of imparted into the world by the equinox, by the change of the season. Okay, with that being said, let's go ahead and start. This is an odd one, so let's just get through it. Ein lishboch es hamayim mipnei hameis. We don't pour out the water that was stored, the mayim shalanu is what we're worried about, the water that we're going to make matzah with. Ein lishboch es hamayim mipnei hameis. So for that, so it implies typically we would, in accordance with the minhag, the custom, we would pour out the water. But here we don't pour out the water that we're going to make matzah with, just because somebody died in the house. Also, v'lo mipnei tekufa, and we don't pour it out for the tekufa either. Again, this implies that we normally would pour stored water out for the tekufa. But he says we don't have to do that. Why? Shneamar, because we say shomer mitzvah lo yada devara, because we say that somebody who observes the commandment, i.e., here we're talking about the making of matzah, lo yada devara, he's not going to know anything bad, right? He's going to be successful. So we're not worried about these things because we have a job set for us to do the mitzvah. So we're not going to worry about these sort of ancillary concerns, these superstitious concerns. Okay. Incidentally, this idea of the water in the tekufa pouring out, I saw brought down in the name of the Ibn Ezra that he thinks this whole idea is silly, and he's a relatively early Rishon. So he thinks this idea is silly, and there's a whole back and forth. People agree with him, people don't agree with him. I didn't see it inside the Ibn Ezra, so I can't give you the actual language there, but I saw it discussed outside. I saw it sort of paraphrase the whole discussion. He seems to not put much stock in the whole thing altogether. But nevertheless, as Jewish culture is, things kick along. Even things that we've long abandoned tend to kick along and stick around. Okay, and now we continue. And we're going to go further on this issue of the Tekufa, of the vernal. We're talking about Tekufas Nisan, which is the vernal equinox. So it's not just in Jewish culture. There's all kinds of other ideas about the things that can, catastrophes or that can befall you because of the vernal equinox, or good things. There's an interesting, a lot of interesting things if you want to make a study of folk beliefs. Okay, so let's go further with that. Umikol mokum, nevertheless, chachila, doing it the best way, kishiyodeya shetekufa tipo, when you know that the equinox is going to fall. So what do? Yiniach b'soy chamaim, we put inside the water chatichas barzel, a little piece of metal, of iron, katana, a little, v'nakia, and clean. Yeah, we don't want to put our dirty iron in there. We don't want to hang a rusty nail in the water. We want to put a clean nail in the water. And so what's an example of that? Something like machat, a needle. Yeah, usehe tului b'chut, and it should be suspended, tuluya, suspended or hung, b'chut, by a thread. Why? Shelo yitzdarech achachach lahachnis esayad l'sochamayim l'chachas osa. That we shouldn't need to, shelo yitzdarech, we shouldn't need achachach, afterwards, after the tekufa, lahachnis esayad, to put our hand in, l'sochamayim, to the water, l'chachas osa, in order to take it out. So if we hang it by a thread, what happened? How do we get the pin or the nail out of the water? Ella imshechena im hachut. You just pull it out with the string. We don't have to worry about getting the water for our matzah dirty, because who knows what's on our hands or underneath our fingernails. Or maybe we had a sandwich that day. So who knows? So we can just pull out this little piece of metal with a string. Okay, again, I completely confess I don't understand what the piece of metal is supposed to be doing for us. I don't really even know what the concern is with the vernal equinox and what it does to the water, or what people used to believe that the water would do to us. At the very least, it's interesting, and I include it for completeness, and it's interesting to consider beliefs that were considered everyday, sort of pedestrian beliefs that everybody believed in, that have sort of went by the side over the years. It's interesting to see an example of that. I think there are people who are particular to do everything as written. My question is are those people really concerned about this, or is this they simply want to do everything as written? So I've met people that could go either way on that. Okay, I hope you enjoyed. It was an interesting one. We'll see you. This is the end of Siman 109. We'll see you with the next Siman, and we're dealing with, in that Siman 110, we're dealing with the actual kneading and the baking of the matzah, and what that process looks like. Okay, I hope to see you next time. Next Siman, Kol Tu Sacharava. Keep learning.